What's up, everybody, and welcome to Clubit TV. Thank you so much for joining us. Apologies for the slightly late start. Unfortunately, Discord decided to throw a little bit of a tantrum, and so did a couple of our internet as well. So apologies for that, but thank you so much for being here and sticking with us. Hope you enjoyed the little bit of music there that we were playing. Little bit new. You know, these two didn't hear that, but no, you guys did. We're live streaming to Facebook, Twitch, Mixer, YouTube, and Twitter all at the same time. Hopefully the internet does not decide to implode on us and bring down the whole live stream, but we'll be absolutely fine. I'm Roger Knowles, your host for today's live stream, but of course, I am not on my own. I am joined by Ed from GameHog. Hello, sir.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ed. How on earth are you all? Some of you may know me from the channel GameHog. It's been a little bit quiet on the old streaming and content front lately, but that's because in my spare time I'm also a editor for other YouTubers. That's my main bread and butter. That is kind of what I do. That's how I'm connected to the industry in other ways. But there's still lots of things coming, so don't you worry. But yes, I'm looking forward to sitting down and having some good old chats with these fellows, and obviously with all of you guys who are here in the chat. So let's have a damn good live show. What do you say, guys?
That sounds good to me.
Let's have a chat.
From when it started, it can only go upwards now.
That is true, yeah. It can only get better.
And also on today's show, we're joined by Richard Dobson. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey. Hi, everyone. Yes, this is my first time on Clubit TV. With this being the second show, I was an avid viewer of the first show and very much enjoyed it, so I'm hoping to replicate that. I am a budding games journalist. I have reviews on the Xbox Hub and Square XO as well, where I mainly tend to do the indie games. I feel that's where there's more love put into games. But obviously, with this being the time of year where all the AAA games get released, I do have a long list of games I'm wanting to play as well.
Right there with you, man. I think this year is going to be a busy one by the back end of it. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, Richard, you weren't here on the last episode. We had Luke and James last time, and they will be back hopefully next week if they want to join us. They might be like, screw this, no, we're off.
I hate this show.
But thank you so much for joining us, Richard. Like so you do, like me and Ed, we do more video content, but you do more written content. So what sites do you write for?
Yes. Yeah, I'm very much behind the camera, so to speak, then. So I do the Xbox Hub, where I focus obviously on Xbox gaming. And I also had a PS4 as well that was lying a bit dormant. So I recently started writing for Square XO, which is another up-and-coming website. For them, I am currently reviewing Fist of the North Star, Lost Paradise.
Oh my word.
Which is by the guys that do the Yakuza games, but this is to do with the manga on the side. Very much a Yakuza game still, just with a different skin, I'm finding so far. And recently I did a review for a game called Raised, which is on my Twitter now. That was for the Xbox Hub. And yeah, very, very much enjoyed that game. I think I gave it 4 stars out of 5. It's like a platformer speedrunner game, where you have levels and then you need to the fastest time on them. But it's very addictive, and the best thing for me about it was because I had to restart the game so much. Every time you pressed Y, it instantly restarted the level as opposed to loading in every time.
What's a 5-star game for you, out of curiosity?
Monster Hunter World was a 5-star game.
Ooh, you will fit in just fine here, Richard. You'll be fine. I'm not a Monster Hunter player myself, but I do know Ed is, and so are Luke and James. So I think you'll be just fine. In fact, I might as well just leave. I saw you actually, Ed. You were live streaming Monster Hunter on the Switch.
Yes, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of both Monster Hunter and the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch, I'm kind of not ashamed to say, aside from the quote-unquote PC Master Race, I'm a big proprietor of the Switch. I think it's an amazing device. I think it's a really, really great example of how a console should be, both for like couch playing by yourself out and about playing by yourself, or out and about or couch playing multiplayer, it's just a really, really good console. The ability to be able to do Monster Hunter out and about with something like a Switch is great. The fact that there's not multiplayer, like kind of split screen, it's a little bit disappointing, but understandable for it not being in there, considering it is just a port of the 3DS. But I'd like to see them maybe implement that in a future Switch release, because they may make one that's actually specifically for the Switch rather than one that's a 3DS game upscaled. But I'm a big fan of it. I was only playing it just today because I had a friend over, and we love sitting down and playing that game. It's just really, really fun. It's very, very enjoyable. It's great teamwork, Monster Hunter. That's the thing I think I love about it the most, is just constant communication, always thinking about what the monster's doing. There's no health bars and things. So you kind of have to rely on knowing what the monster's doing and how its behaviors are changing and stuff. And that's kind of why I like it. And the fact that you can jump online very easily with your friends who are sat next to you, or the friends who are online wherever they are seamlessly, is great. It just makes the whole experience so worth doing. And Monster Hunter World was just the kind of epitome of that Richard was talking about. It's everything that they, because Monster Hunter has a really hard difficulty curve and has loads of tropes that are kind of, fans like them, but they're kind of weird gameplay decisions that to someone who's uninitiated, they will just go, why is this in the game? And they'd be right to think that, because some of it's really, really stupid and nonsensical. But Monster Hunter World had all these fantastic quality of life changes that I just adored, and I'm hoping they make more of it, because they didn't think amazingly with the longevity of the game, because I've already kind of reached the point where I'm done playing it. Whereas Monster Hunter for the Switch is basically like Monster Hunter Greatest Hits. It has every monster in it, more or less. So
I have to admit, like you said with the Nintendo Switch, though, I think it kind of, it's like a perfect game for that sort of system. Like I like I say, I put my hands in the air. I'm not a Monster Hunter player, but with the Switches as it is, it's kind of, Nintendo Switch is the dream console that we had when we were younger. Really, if you think about it, because it literally, because it can transfer over to being a normal console, over to being a handheld. That's what we wanted.
Yeah,
when we were younger.
Exactly. And interestingly, when you look at it and then you look at the Wii U, you do kind of go, oh, I understand what you were trying to do now. Like, I get this. That's why the Wii U wasn't great, is because it was this weird half step between what they were trying to do with the Switch. And they learned from their mistakes with the Wii U that were catastrophic. And then now they've done a really, really good job with it.
I always find that Nintendo do one good console, one bad console, one good console, one bad console, and they sort of like flip about a little bit.
Like the Star Trek films.
Right. But I'm trying to think what the consoles were, because there was the NES, the SNES.
I mean, they were two good hits, admittedly.
Yeah, them did it go 64 after that, or was there something I'm missing?
No, yeah,
then 64. Admittedly, that was it. My kind of theory doesn't actually work, does it really? But then they did the Wii, a GameCube, which didn't do so well. It was a good system. I loved the GameCube.
It was arguably the best.
Didn't sell.
Great first party games, but yeah, it kind of didn't sell as well.
And then they did the Wii, which obviously went, and then they did the Wii U, which then did the opposite. And then now they've done basically, yeah. And like you said, that you could see what they were doing with the Wii U, which then has led into this.
And I'm happy to see so many strong first-party and third-party titles making their way to these Nintendo consoles. Because for the longest time, it was all these things would come out on Sony or Xbox, and that was it. There would sometimes be a Wii or Wii U port, but you'd sort of snarl at that and go like, no.
What are you doing here? Go away.
But it's now a bit more viable, admittedly. So, you know, it's got less processing power, and it's not trying to compete with a PS4.
And I think that's what I think they've got right, is that they're basically their own system. And to be honest, a lot of the games can port over. Obviously, there'd be certain limitations, but you just look at like Fortnite, for example. It's come over to the Switch. Like, at what point did you think Fortnite was going to be on handheld? Admittedly, it's on a mobile, which was a shock in itself. But then it came over to Switch, and at least on Switch you have a chance of doing all right.
Well, yeah, it's because you're playing against children and their parents.
I still can't win.
Really? Admittedly, I've never won a solo game of Fortnite ever.
Have you not? I've done once, and that was like really, really early on, like when it was not very old, the game. I did it, and literally I kind of hid for like most of it, and I think I got 2 kills, and I don't know how it actually. I actually have proof of this. I actually screenshot it as well. I was like, I can't believe I've won. But then I went on and did the Nintendo Switch, and I was like, I just can't quite get my hands to do what they need to do at the right moment. I think playing it portably is probably not the best option. Really,
that is the case. Although there's quite a few, but what I'm looking forward to, especially with the Switch, admittedly this is a bit off topic, but like I'm really looking forward to being able to play things like Pokemon again, but be able to stream and record it, because I don't have a 3DS doesn't have an HDMI out. You have to buy
the special adapted modded version.
Modded ones, yeah, exactly, and that's a faff, and I don't want to have to spend money on that to play Pokemon Sun, which I don't really like. So for me, I didn't really feel the need to do that. But with this, like, I can't wait to start playing these games on the stream or playing a video of it or being able to record gameplay. Like, I'm just excited to be able to do that. I know it was interesting you brought up Fortnite, though.
Go on,
because doesn't that segue us neatly into our first topic?
It does indeed. Oh, Ed, you know, you can tell you do a lot of live streaming. Jeez. Ed, you are on it. And that does, Ed. Well done. Good man. Takes us over to our first topic. So, I've actually made some notes here, so hopefully we can get the lower third to pop in. There we go. So, as some of you probably already do know, but we haven't been, here because obviously we were waiting to be green-lighted, which we now have. So the Clubit Show is every week on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Thanks to you guys for watching our first one and supporting us. So unfortunately, we went through about 8 weeks of not being able to talk about stuff. But last week, John Codera, I hope I said his name right, the president and global CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, released a statement on PlayStation.com saying, here we go, get my official voice on. Following the comprehensive evaluation process, Sony Interactive Entertainment has identified a path toward supporting cross-platform features for select third-party content. We recognise that PlayStation 4 players have been eagerly waiting an update, and we appreciate the community's continued patience as we have navigated through this issue to find a solution. The first step will be an open beta beginning today for Fortnite that will allow for cross-platform gameplay, progression, and commerce across PlayStation 4, Android, iOS, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, Microsoft Windows, and Mac operating systems. We see the beta as an opportunity to conduct thorough testing that ensures cross-platform play is best on PlayStation, while being mindful about users' experience from both a technical and social perspective.
So basically,
well done.
All the waffle aside from that nonsense statement, cross-platform is finally coming to PS4, who were the ones who were being the pain in the arse with this.
Basically, they were the ones who were throwing up the wall saying, no. The best place to play is on PlayStation. We do not need cross-play.
Yeah, because weren't they... when Fortnite started, wasn't crossplay originally enabled by a mistake from Epic Games?
I believe it was.
For a brief period of time it was on.
I don't know if that was the case.
It was
something like that.
Yeah, something like that happened. Story. And I do know, like, was it the guys who do Rocket League did actually say that, like, unofficially, that they could literally, it's not at a technical standpoint, it's not that hard for them to actually initiate crossplay. It's literally a flip of a switch. So that's unofficial, by the way, so that may not be entirely correct. But I do remember reading that somewhere. So in a technical perspective, it's not that hard to actually do this. But Sony would basically be in the pain in the arse and saying, no, play on PlayStation. We don't need to go anywhere.
I think it's purely because they didn't need the extra players on their console. That was the argument they were making, with it being such a big seller.
Well, and can you blame
saying that? No, in a way, yeah, but they were saying, well, it's not us that need the extra players, it's all the other consoles, so we're not going to allow that.
So with Fortnite obviously being so massive, and this is obviously the first one they're going to be doing the beta, which is happening now, if I'm correct, because it was last week then they launched this.
Yes.
What if there's any other games do you think are going to actually step into this category?
Well,
realistically. Sorry, go ahead.
On that kind of topic, I was going to say, where does this leave the console market? And where does this leave the console wars? Because The whole point of Xbox versus PlayStation was realistically you bought one console. More often than not, you buy it for the exclusives, for which one has the better kind of graphics processor, as it were. Some people care about that. And then the major factor is which one your friends have. If that stops being a problem, does that strengthen the market because it stops mattering? Or does it weaken it and dilute it a bit more? Or does this now open new opportunities? I'm kind of wondering a slightly bigger picture than just things like Fortnite now having it, and the games that you're suggesting may be able to get, like Call of Duty. You know, every shooter game.
I think that at this point, it now comes down to that the console companies have to then really focus on their first-party exclusives and really say, listen, you know, like, obviously these are all, let's just throw out this, say, like in the next generation of console, most games are cross-play. Let's just say that for the time being. What it comes down to is like The Last of Us, God of War. You know, it comes down to those games, which you say, listen, you can play those games online with your friends. That's fair enough. But you really want to buy it for these. I think that's what it's going to come down to. And with Microsoft actually purchasing a lot of companies in the last few months to try and boost their first-party catalog, probably not for this generation, but it's going to be for the next one. I think they've taken the right path, if that makes sense.
Sure.
With actually starting to get the ball rolling, and obviously Sony are going to be doing the same because they're going to be making sure that their first parties are strong. But I think that's what it comes down to more than anything else. I don't think it really matters when it comes to a multiplayer game what console you actually own.
I think you're right, actually, on that regard, because most people, if you were going to pick, quite a lot of people who are gamers who were going to pick the gamers. I hate that expression. But if you were going to use that term, and also the kind of people who want to buy the kind of thing that's cross-platform and stuff, they're usually the more hardcore end of the gaming kind of spectrum, as it were. So they're more likely to have it on PC or something anyway.
I think the true was...
So for me, I have a PC. So multiplayer games that are cross-platform, there's only one choice. When it comes to exclusives, I have the choice. And so, yeah, to me, that's what the console market is. But it's making it about that to everyone, I guess.
I think like what comes down to it now, then, if this is the case that they could do more games, multiplayer and cross-play, the true war, which is the console wars, would actually become controller or keyboard and mouse again. It's like,
oh god,
it's like just let's just stoke that ember up a little bit.
Well, that's the problem. Is everyone always whines because I think you can. There was one of the emulators you could get for Android meant people were playing PUBG and Fortnite, Android and iOS versions, but with a mouse and keyboard, and it just instantly makes you way better.
Yeah. That's true. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Like I was saying before, like with this, obviously Fortnite being the first step, do you think this will be a natural progression very quickly to other games, or do you think it's going to still be a long process before we get there? And what do you think are the next games are going to get on board, and which games PlayStation is going to allow?
I do think it will happen quite quickly now.
Yeah, I think this is
PlayStation have allowed
effect.
It. Yeah.
You see, the thing is,
and I think it is going to be the big hitters.
So which games do you think are going to be the first ones that are after Fortnite?
Black Ops 4.
With the Blackout...
yes, with things like that, because that's just about to drop. Why wouldn't you make that...
The player only as well, isn't it?
Why wouldn't you make that cross-platform, just so everyone...
It makes sense.
Because ultimately, it gets more sales to your game.
It makes sense.
It's a good idea.
If Sony do try and, again, slow it down with Activision, say, listen, well, we're not quite ready there yet, and if Microsoft turn around and say, well, we are, it's like, we're ready, then in that case, it makes their online more populated, naturally.
The problem is Microsoft have no leg to stand on at the moment because their exclusives are nothing short of shameful. Like, they're just kind of a waste at this point, and they cancelled half of their good ones, I seem to recall. I watched a lot of E3, and I can't tell you a single game that came out of the Microsoft. No,
I got told me yeah.
There's nothing. There was one game I was looking forward to on Xbox, and that was called Scalebound, and I believe it was by Platinum Games, and it looked very
Platinum Games, yeah.
Devil May Cry, and also Lair, which was one of the opening launch titles of the PS3, and it looked quite interesting and had like a douchey Dante main protagonist, and I was totally down for this game, and something happened to it and it got cut. And that was honestly, this sounds like I'm projecting because I was looking forward to it, but apparently people were so excited for that game that they lost so much faith in Xbox because they were like, what are you doing cancelling original IPs to push your kind of dying Halo franchise even harder? Like, why are you doing this? Because I stopped enjoying Halo. Halo 4 was kind of nice, but the story was a bit weak. I didn't try 5. And is there a 6 yet?
6 got announced at E3.
Oh, there we go.
Well,
that was the only.
Nice one, Richard. I'm glad you're here. Me and like
Halo 6 and Gears of War 5, which you knew were coming at some point anyway, so they weren't big surprises.
More of these games,
I think,
like
in the end, like as it comes back around, it's only going to be a good thing doing cross play because obviously, like for example, when I was arranging this show and I was putting it together, we still haven't yet, but I was arranging like a night of gaming for us all, just like break the ice a little bit, stuff like that. But because we all own different consoles or don't have the same games on that console, it caused a problem. But now
it's no longer a problem.
Open up those games. Well, I've got, let's say, Rainbow Six Siege. I've got it on PS4. You guys might have it on PC or Xbox. It doesn't matter what you own it on, as long as you got the game.
Exactly, that's the case.
So overall, I think it's a good. I think Sony had to make this move. It's just, yeah. I think to be honest, I think there was a bit of a backlash with them saying no, we won't be doing that sort of thing. But I think they needed to quickly get this out of the way and just sweep it under the rug and go like, yes, we're doing it now. Go away. Like, let's move on to other things. PlayStation 5, woo! They'll pull a curtain down at the next event and they'll be like, look, forget about everything else.
Do you know what? Really, I totally forgot about this. But do you guys remember the Xbox One's disastrous launch? Or even its pre-launch.
When it basically just kept
no
reverting
part
everything.
of the Xbox One's life cycle has been good. They started it before it even came out as going, it's a media center. And everyone's going, we wanted a gaming console. And so everyone was instantly a bit shaky. And they've really forced the Kinect down your throat. And it was just, there was so much stuff that was really weak.
They retracted a lot. They were like double backing on themselves straight away.
Yeah, do you remember that whole pre-owned games debacle?
Until they took the
where
piss
they were
out
like,
of them.
if you use a disc, you can never use that disc in another console. And they went, well, why? And they went, well,
you have to register it online, and that
and so everyone went. So it's no wonder that everyone lost faith in Microsoft this generations because they completely.
But to be absolutely honest, I think there was some of the ideas they had were actually very good.
I agree.
We weren't ready for that.
It was too early. Them trying to say, by the way, we are stopping doing discs. I went, well, yeah, that seems like a rash decision, but that has to happen eventually.
They were just trying to get ahead, and it was just we as consumers weren't ready for that.
It needed to be. We needed to be eased into that, and at the moment, that easing is happening. People are buying more. I don't know. Actually, I don't have the stats to back this up. This is conjecture, but I imagine people are starting to buy more and more digital copies.
Personally, as a gamer, for me, I buy more digital games now than ever before. Mainly for pure of ease. The only reason why these days I'll order a physical copy of a game is mainly for price reasons.
Price is still an issue.
Yeah,
but they announced.
Go on, sorry, go on.
Sorry, they announced some figures for FIFA 19 this week, which has instantly become the biggest selling game of the year. But compared to last year, physical sales are down 25%, which they are attributing mainly to digital.
See, a lot of people like the idea of buying physical copies as like a collector's item, but to me, I'm actually kind of the other way around. If it's a game I'm going to buy and cherish, I want it on my device so I can play it whenever I want. If it's a game I have no faith in its longevity, I want to be able to take this back in 2-3 years, So ARMS, I bought that physical copy because I'm not going to play ARMS forever, I'm bored of ARMS now.
I think it comes down to what sort of consumer you are as well. Because like a couple of my friends love trading in the games and getting money back off them and stuff like that. Whereas me, I try and research into games a lot more. Whereas they'll just buy games from a bit of a whim. And they've kind of done that with digital versions where it's been still quite pricey, and then instantly regretted it and like, oh, this is not very good. I don't like this. It's like,
Well,
if you
that's the
looked
problem
into it
with
a bit
cheap
more.
games on Steam. You buy them by the bucket load and you don't touch them. I've got 700 games or something in my library. I think I've played 30 of them. Like, it's starting to get a bit mad.
But I got to admit, like, bring it back. We actually got a little bit off track, but I mean, to be honest, bringing it round back to the crossplay, this is the future of gaming, and it's only a good thing, in my personal opinion. Are we all in agreement? Good.
I think so.
Yes.
But moving on to our second topic of today, stepping away from video games just for a second, and I would like to talk about, let's get that around, there we go, the brand new iPhone. Like I said, we haven't really been around for a little while, so we're doing a bit of catch up here. The brand new iPhone got released on the 26th of September, if I'm correct.
Sure.
At least that's when you would receive it when you did the pre-orders. So the iPhone XS and the iPhone XS Max. Jesus, they really need to start abbreviating these phones.
Yeah, nomenclature central.
But they got announced, and to be honest, like, obviously with us talking about video games and consoles and things like that, I think bringing gadgets into it is kind of a good thing, because I want to approach this from a slightly different angle. But before we go any further, probably go around the room and just say what phones you guys have, if you don't mind saying. Ed, which phone do you have?
I have a Google Pixel 2 that I'm very happy with. Best phone I've ever owned.
I have a Google Pixel 1 that I am very happy with.
Good.
What about you? What have you got?
I have the iPhone 6S Plus.
That's a good phone.
Yeah, it's probably the best iPhone that I've owned so far. I had loads of issues with the iPhone 5. Yeah, it was horrendous. A lot of people loved it. I did not like it. This is probably the best one I've had so far since, because I did the massive jump. I had like literally the shittest brick phone you can possibly imagine for years, and went straight to the iPhone 3GS and was like, oh my god. Have you seen this? It has a screen which is bigger than 1.5 inches. So I was a bit of like an old man when it came to it. I was just like, oh, there's no key buttons. It's all on the screen. Anyway, enough about how old I am. But so basically, like, going around the room, I should probably read out the pricing of the iPhone, because this is what shocked me the most. I wanted to ask you guys, how much is too much for
whatever
phones?
You're about to say, I imagine, because the last model of iPhone was way too much. $1,000 for a phone.
Well, we're going above and beyond that now. I believe that just get all the pricing up here on my phone. Scroll. Keep scrolling. Jesus Christ, this article is massive. But I think the cheapest version, which was the iPhone XS, was £999. And that's with the lowest memory, if I'm correct. And then the Max, the most expensive, I believe, I'm trying to find the price now, but I'm scrolling and scrolling. I cannot find where the actual pricing is. Was 1,000, I believe, 599, if I can get an actual quote on that.
Yeah, 1,099 for the Max, the smallest memory, and 1,449 at the largest memory. That is too much. I can buy a laptop for that price.
It's
like
that's
a laptop that does more than that phone. That's so irritating. This phone does more than that phone does, and this costs a fraction of the price. And it's really insulting. I'm sick of Apple, because I used to be a big Apple person, and really, I'm not one of those pretentious guys who's really behind Steve Jobs about it. But it was up until Steve Jobs died around that time that I was really big into them. I had a MacBook, I was using iPhones, and then the iPhone 5 came out, and I went, no, I don't like that. I'm moving. And then I jumped ship, and then I moved from Macs to this to my PC, because for the price, I could buy 2 of these for one crap MacBook.
I have to admit, like,
that's not worth it.
I've always used iPhones. I mean, like I said, I did a massive jump from a brick of a phone to what I've got now, and I've never been a Mac person. Like, I do my video editing, I do my streaming here. We're using a laptop. I've never used Macs for anything in that way, and I've always been told that you should. Like, oh, it's the best place to do editing and creation and yes, they are very, very good. But the price just for me was I could get more for a laptop and actually have it at least customized to how what I need for what I do for my job, than to actually spend another £800 on top of the actual price I would pay for the laptop for something which not as good.
So interestingly, I had a look recently because my girlfriend was given one by one of her clients, one of the top spec ones, and so I looked up the price, and it's something like $4,000, and for that price, I could buy 2 extraordinary laptops
that would
ridiculous. Be future-proofed. Yeah. And that's not okay, is it? Like, so the Google Pixel 3, I'm not aware of how much the 3 is going to be, but I'm fairly certain they said something like £780 for the big model.
I believe it's getting officially announced next week.
It is. So I'm excited to see what they do, because honestly, Google know what they're doing with phones. You think they might not, but they know better than Apple, I think, in some ways. I've jumped back into Apple because I have an Apple phone as my work phone. And whilst Apple is very user-friendly and they're very popular phones, they actually are weirdly unintuitive in a lot of ways. And my housemate, for instance, was very anti-Android, and he didn't want to move away from Apple ever. Got the Pixel 2 when it came out because he was getting tired of Apple's prices and stuff. And he's never gone back because he finds it's got more stuff and more customizability, and it's, you know, it's just a generally better phone. So for me, no is my bottom line. These prices are unacceptable. I have to admit, especially for what you're getting.
It's like I say, I do enjoy the iPhone. I like it. I like the. For me, I find it very accessible. I find it very easy to use. And then quite often whenever I've used an Android, I always get really confused. I think maybe I've used some crap Android phones.
Sure.
And I get confused really easy. I'm like, that doesn't seem like. Why put that there? And I've always been a bit.
The thing is, you guys only have the one button, don't you? See, that is instantly, that makes navigation a little bit more of a chore. Whereas on a Google phone, for instance, if I go on to Twitch or anything, you can see there's a home button, a little menu button, and a back button. And so all of those things are really, really useful.
That's a really
Whereas
good point.
on the iPhone, it's more about that. Then you have to reach up to the corner to close.
Well,
or
the new one's that big. Apparently,
whilst those are fine, like it's just a little extra step.
It's apparently the new one, the Max, is apparently that big that it's actually, they've even advised you not to use it with one hand. Because they've curved it that much at the edges and made it that thin that it can be dropped like so ridiculously easy. You know,
they shatter like nothing, don't they? These phones.
It's just unbelievable. Oh yeah, because especially when you spent £1,000 and odd on an iPhone, and it's like it's gone. Like,
yeah, if I'm spending that, I expect it to be made of bulletproof glass.
Hey, Paul Driver said iPhone made for left hand. Why else is it back button on the top left? Also, Lad Charles on Twitch also says my current computer costs £2K. It's a beast of a machine. But so it means like you could have a £2,000 worth laptop, which will, like you say, future-proof you for the next God knows how long. But you mentioned there, Ed, about like using your phone with like Twitch and things like that. Like the one question I want to ask you both, because obviously, Richard, you come from a writing situation, and Ed, you come from a video situation. How useful is it to actually have like an up-to-date smartphone with doing like content creating? You know,
Richard, why don't you go for this one?
Go for it.
I mean, from my point of view, I don't take videos, or very rarely take photos for the content that I create anyway. I mainly use it for taking notes if there's something that I'll think about on the way to work or anything like that, and I quickly make a note of it. So that's what I mainly use it for, which has been done on phones for yonks. So for me, it's not been an issue. I just have a personal preference of using Android over Apple.
Interesting. So, interestingly, this is actually the topic I did for my dissertation at university.
I'll sit back now.
I did.
Go ahead, Ed.
My title was called "The Budget Video: The Future of the Music Video," and basically, I set out the premise of if you assume that everybody, because nowadays in the 21st century, 2014 it was at the time, most people have a phone, especially one with camera capabilities. And so I basically set out to say, with a budget of around £100, can you record a song with a microphone that you buy and with instruments you already own, mix it on free software on a computer that you already have, and then film it on the phone that you've got, maybe buying additional lens kits for £3 on eBay, and then can you promote that online? Can you publish it somewhere for free, and can you promote it for free? It was basically about how you can integrate mobile phones and stuff to make all the stuff that used to be very difficult to do throughout the 80s and the 90s totally free. And the thing that I found whilst doing all my research was mobile phones are used extraordinarily all over the place. And one of the main places that I had heard they were used for one of the first times was around, maybe it wasn't one of the first times, first instance that I'd heard of was a Burberry advert around the release of the iPhone 5 or 5S. And it was all filmed on several iPhone 5Ss. And I didn't know that until I did this research. So something like that alone proves that things like content creation are very doable from a mobile phone. Does it need to be the greatest phone in the world? It depends what you're trying to do. The conclusion I found from my dissertation was, yes, you can do all this stuff for free. Is it as good as stuff you pay for? No. But it's still something, and you can do a really good job with it, and you can actually push it quite far. My camera on this phone, for instance, is arguably the best on the market. Apparently, it's still better than the dual camera of the new iPhone, because this is a single camera. So it's the best single camera on the market. I think things like that are incredible for things like vloggers or for Let's Players. Being able to use your phone as a face cam or being able to use it as a vlogging device is incredibly important to people who want to be able to push content. It's a shame the medium is breaking down a bit because it's not necessarily the formatting of their video as much as the platform of YouTube that's a problem for that now. But it is easy to stick this just on one of those clamps and then walk around with that as my vlogging camera, pointing it at my face. And it's got really good quality. You can go up to 60 frames per second on this. So if you were editing at a 30 frame per second rate, which most videos on YouTube are, you can film B-roll and slow that down by 50%. So you've got slow-mo footage. Phones are incredibly powerful devices and not vital to content creation, but they're vital for things like social media. They're vital for the fact that if you are a regular poster of pictures, videos, or even thoughts, you have instant access to all of them with great quality. I think they're such an advantage in the world of content creation that, yeah, they're a great tool to have. And especially the fact they keep getting better. All you need to do is invest in a decent one, and you've got yourself basically a kind of content creation PA. I think you've just summed that up, actually, to be absolutely honest. Go ahead, Richard, you want to say something? Sorry. Yeah,
I'm just going to add to that there was a film that came out this year called Unsane. Steven Soderbergh, I think, directed it and had Claire Foy in, and that was filmed completely on an iPhone.
Interesting. There you go. So there's a whole film.
So it's happening now, basically.
The new camera as well. Sorry to interrupt. You're right. But the new camera, interestingly, with the new iPhones, because it's got the dual camera stuff, what it does is it takes a picture of the foreground and the background, and it lets you do what they call artificial depth of field. For those of you who maybe don't get what depth of field is the idea in a photo of depth. But so if you look at me, everything behind you goes blurry. The more blurry it is, the bigger the depth of field is, kind of thing. So basically, you can now set that. So you could take a picture that looks dead flat where you can see all the trees in the background, or you can do a slider and then suddenly those go really blurry. And that's really key for content creation at the moment, because I don't know if any of you guys have used a portrait mode on any of your phones, but that is already, it makes selfies look pretty like artsy and pretty good.
I say one of my old work colleagues had one, and it got to it showed me in the office, and it was just unbelievable. Like it was just like, that's what I'd be trying to do for, like, just generally on a camera. It's amazing.
Exactly. So if it does it for you, and now you can edit that on the fly, it's becoming even easier to get professional, quote unquote, professional level quality, you know, and I think that's really incredible.
I think, like, you summed it up with saying, like, you've got like your personal PA right there, and when you go to like gaming events or any other events like that, having a reasonable phone that it doesn't have to be the best, but it's reasonably good. Like I said, I've been to EGX down in London, and one of the first events that I went to, and I didn't really have a lot of equipment, I was a little bit limited on what I had. I was literally only just starting out on YouTube, and I needed something. So I actually bought a fairly cheap microphone, and it plugged into the bottom of my iPhone. And I did on-camera interviews. I had one of my friends do the filming, and literally just stood there with the microphone and just talked to him. I still use it now because, to be absolutely honest, the quality it was absolutely fantastic. And but then at the same time, once done finished doing the interview, go away. Right, whose interview we've got next? Bring up your schedule list, contact them over Twitter or Messenger. It's all there in your phone, which kind of becomes obvious these days because it's no longer a phone. It's
everything else as well.
It's your life right there in the palm of your hand. But I got to admit, I think for my personal opinion, it's good to have at least a fairly high phone. Yes. You don't necessarily need the best phone.
No, absolutely not. I think that's a great conclusion for that entire segment. A nice rounding off.
Round it off. But not just for that. I'd actually say when I mentioned this topic to you and you said dissertation, I was like, get in! We're good.
I'll speak to him about this. Yeah, it was interesting being able to do the research into this because I wanted to see how powerful it was. And it obviously makes a difference because they're small chips, and that's always going to be different to like a DSLR. But it's still good.
But so that takes us on to our next one. We've got quite a lot of topics to actually cover today, so we'll crack on. Next one. So we mentioned this very briefly in the pre-show, and so we'll talk about it very briefly now. Venom as Venom. Ooh. So I actually thought it was going to be released on Friday.
So did I.
Yeah, and so it's available now to watch at the cinemas. I know the reviews
it came out today.
So obviously, when I was putting this topic together, obviously, I was like, oh, cool. Venom is one of my favourite Spider-Man villains, especially from the 90s cartoon series. If you never watched that, great. Especially with the symbiote outfit and everything like that, it's amazing. So when they announced this, I thought, actually, we'll give Sony another go. Because obviously the Amazing Spider-Man films that they did weren't great. Obviously they've done a deal with Marvel now. They've passed Spider-Man over to Marvel. We don't know how long for, but there's some deals and money exchange happening there. But Sony still own the whole of the Spider-Man franchise. So they actually have access to all these villains and everything like that. And it's up to them what they wish to do with them, and it's nothing to do with Marvel. Marvel have to agree it with Sony if they use any of Spider-Man's villains. So obviously they announced the Venom film, and I was like, oh, okay. And then Tom Hardy, I was like, pretty good actor. I could see him in that role. But before we go any further, I want to pass over to you guys. Not taking in any of the reviews that have now been launched. We'll chat about those in a second, which came out today. What was your initial thoughts when you heard about and saw the trailers for Venom? Richard, would you like to go first?
Yeah, to be honest, it was one of confusion as to how they were even going to attempt this film.
Yeah.
Because, I know little bits about Spider-Man, not clued up on everything to do with it, but I know obviously who Venom was from the comics, and then kind of in Spider-Man 3. Which, yeah. But yeah, I was always unsure how it was going to be done. And without going into them too early, I think that's the general consensus of the reviews that have come out, is that it's not been done right, whatever they did decide to do.
Ed, what were your initial thoughts when they announced the Venom film and released the trailers?
I didn't need it. That was the thing, is that I want Venom to be in a Tom Holland movie. I don't want Venom to appear by himself. I love what they've created in the MCU with Spider-Man. I don't need Venom. I remember that. So the way they did Venom's origin story in Spider-Man 3 was exactly how I remember it from the cartoon. To be fair to Sam Raimi's entire trilogy, it's almost like frame perfect in terms of what they did in the animated series. So
it's like ripping off the suit in the bell tower. Yeah.
I had that on VHS. I've seen that episode and that saga so many times. I know it backwards. And in the Sam Raimi one, they did it okay. Obviously, it was part of a generally worse film, and there were lots of other studio problems that led to that happening. But with this, Tom Hardy is a good actor. I don't want to talk about the reviews too much, but the one thing that does seem to have come from it is that Tom Hardy is the saving grace of that movie, in the same way that Martin Freeman was for the Hobbit movies, and that his acting and the fact that he is a good actor means he portrays the character quite well, even if the character is kind of unlikable and a bit annoying. But I didn't see the point, and also just from the trailers, the CGI looked kind of
I to be honest, like you said with the Tom Holland thing, like to be honest, like the Spider-Man that, like you said, the MCU have created is amazing, and
perfect.
The best proof of that is I actually showed it to my girlfriend literally last week. I sat down and watched. I was like, "Do you mind if we watch Spider-Man?" She hates superhero films. She does not like them, and I was like, she wasn't feeling right well, and she was just sat on the sofa, not really with it, and she was just like, "Yeah, whatever." I was like, "Hey," so I put Spider-Man on, and she actually got to the end of it. She went, "Oh, quite good that." I was like, "You weren't asleep."
Because it's a good film. It's well crafted. It's joyful. It's well paced. It's got one of the greatest scenes ever with the confrontation with Michael Keaton's character. It's great.
And Michael Keaton as well, being just an unbelievable Vulture villain who, to be honest, if someone says to you, "We're going to put Vulture in it," you go, "Really?
Why?"
Yeah. Like, do we need him? But then Michael Keaton comes on and does it in a way that you actually understand where the villain is coming from. To a point where even when he threatens Peter Parker, if you haven't seen the film, sorry, Peter Parker in the car and says, "Listen,"
what a scene!
Brilliant.
Just he actually lets him go. He says, "Listen, just leave, get out of the car.
You saved my daughter.
Yeah, just don't interfere with my life any further because I will kill you." And to be honest, for a villain to actually turn around and say to the person who's been fucking up his situation for the last how many weeks or whatever, and just let him go, where it's like a lot of money on the line here, and he could actually be arrested, which, and he just lets him go. And you start thinking at this point, going, "Holy shit!" Like the villain is terrifying.
So
you relate
all of
to
that
him.
Moment.
And you're like going,
so mad.
You would be exactly the same if you were in that situation where your family's on the line, your freedom's on the line. You got screwed over by the state, and how Iron Man with the Avengers and the government, and this is where you managed to bounce back and actually be able to create a living for yourself. Yes, technically illegal. Well, it is illegal, but
literally illegal.
Literally illegal, not technically by it. But you can relate to that and be like, you would do anything for your family. And at this point, you're thinking, "Holy shit!" So if they manage to, it's a shame that instead of Sony deciding to go off on their own to say, "We're going to do a Venom movie," it's like, why didn't you just say to the MCU and say, "Listen, because apparently something to do with the deal with Spider-Man Homecoming was that actually Marvel put up the money for the Homecoming, and then pretty much Sony got a lot of the profit, if I remember correctly. That's how it's all. But it was to do with the deal with that they would then give Marvel Spider-Man for the MCU. That's basically that. I think that's it's very blasé way of saying it, but that's sort of covering it very loosely. What sort of happened? Now it's a shame they couldn't do something similar with the Venom movie, where let's bring in Tom Holland, like you say, and let's redo the origin to a correct retelling of how the comics were. And like you said, I was a big, as obviously you were already saying, like with the animated 90s TV series, if we could redo that, it's just, I feel like they've...
Without the appalling voice performance. I forgot, there's this one scene where he's in the black suit and he's chasing Shocker up the bell tower before the scene where he rips it off. And it's the most overacted line in the history of man. It's him going, "Get back here, Shocker, I'll chase you to the ends of the earth."
Yeah.
But it's the most guttural, throated scream, like a death metal vocalist is doing it. And you're just going, "What? This isn't Spider-Man. What's happening?"
It's weird because in that actual cartoon, it suddenly switches. Because he goes from being like Peter Parker, like in the Spider-Man suit, to something like, "Get back, you Shocker!"
Shocker! It's very weird.
If you've never seen it, guys, seriously, if anybody on the if you've never seen the animated 90s series, I think it's like a 5-parter. I'm sure you'll find it on the internet now. Definitely worth a watch. That's how it should be. That's how it should be.
He's got a reddish blue.
It's just. I'd love to see the symbiote outfit as well.
I'm just honestly, I'm more excited about the new Spider-Man film, even though Venom's out now. I would much rather go and Mysterio, exactly. I would much rather see that.
Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio.
Have you seen the pictures, the leaked photos that have come out this week about it?
Footage?
I didn't see the footage. I didn't realize there was footage.
Footage of Mysterio helmetless versus Spider-Man in a fairground on fire.
Well, I know what I'm going to be watching after the live stream. Straight on there.
It's not very good footage. It's just like Mysterio is down on one knee, like looking up towards Spider-Man in this flaming. I think Mysterio in the comics always goes to has his thing at fairgrounds. He's like the Joker
and does the laugh. Ha ha ha! Spider-Man! Like,
because I remember Mysterio from the Spider-Man 2 game. Even though he wasn't in the film, he was one of the main baddies in that game. And he was always just playing these elaborate tricks, basically.
Yeah. Well, basically, as I said, like, the reviews have dropped today, and it's not looking good for Venom. I believe IGN gave it a 4 out of 10, which apparently equivalents to their bad. And as Ed says, Tom Hardy is apparently the best aspect of the film. The good bits are literally because of him, and apparently, with a lot of the reviews, pretty much summed it up like it feels very much a 90s superhero film, where it hasn't taken any notice of how to do a superhero film correctly. It's just kind of taken a massive step back, which I kind of think it sums up that Sony should just leave the superhero genre to Disney and Marvel. DC,
I think so.
DC Comics, obviously Warner Brothers have tried to do superheroes themselves. That's a whole different kettle of fish, but they're struggling to get it right. Marvel have managed to carve a particular style which some people find boring, which is fair enough because sometimes some of the films can be a little bit samey, but it works and it sells, and hopefully
it really does.
And hopefully just. Sony go, you know what, guys? You just have everything else as well. Just give us a bit of a cut. Like, there you go. Like, Tom Hardy, you're going to Disney. There you go. There you go. So we'll see what happens in the future. But, yeah. If you guys see it, let us know, though. And everybody in the comments, if you are going to go see it, let us know down in the comments. And hopefully we haven't put you off. And maybe on the next live stream episode, if any of us have seen it, we can.
I almost went and saw it today. Literally, we literally looked at the viewings for it and thought, I'm not paying to go and watch this. We looked at all the reviews, and admittedly there's some story about them being bots maybe that were doing bad reviews. Who's going out of their way to do that? It's not
going out of the way to put them on some of the big websites.
Yeah it's really weird. I couldn't be bothered to spend money on that, so I'm kind of glad I didn't. But yeah, let us know, guys, if you see it and you like it. Let us know what you liked about it.
Yeah, let us know down in the comments. And we'll maybe hopefully have a chat about it next week if any of us get to see it as well. A little bit of a roundup maybe in the pre-show or the post-show as well.
Fantastic.
The one thing obviously I mentioned so far, which I'll cut in now, we're doing a competition today in the live stream. We are giving a competition. I mentioned it very briefly in the pre-show if I remember correctly. But we're going to give away these goodies behind me, not the plant. Give the plant away.
I'm not interested then.
Ignore the plant. But we've got some plushies. We're actually going to be sending a few more plushies with the competition as well. I've only got 2 here. I've got the Assassin's Creed one, which are all available on Clubit.com, Clubit TV, and Yoda plushie, which actually is my favourite one as well. I've actually been dropping this one into my live streams when I've been doing gaming. And the notebook, which is the Space Invaders one. I won't actually open this because I've actually made so many. I have so many.
You about to say you love drawing dicks?
Yes, that is correct. I make so many notes for like business ideas and things like that, and it's literally. Yeah, like, I love notepads so much. So when this Clubit sent this to me, I was just like, thank God I don't have to buy another one. And then we've also
does the winner get your notepad or a clean notepad?
No, I'm keeping this one. No, just all these ideas. These are shit ideas. What is it? Going through like, this would never work on YouTube. We've also got a polychrome light as well, which is kind of a cool psychedelic little light, which is...
I've got one in my living room.
Aha. So it's a works off USB and battery. So literally to enter the competition, all you need to do is just comment down below, wherever you're watching. And no matter what the comment is, keep it nice. Not rude. But yeah, if you've already commented already, you've already entered for the competition. And what we'll do is in the post-show, we'll have a little look through the comments, and I will literally pick one out at random. I'll contact you somehow. We'll work out somehow. We'll get your details and we'll send that off to you. So all you need to do is comment down below and you'll receive all these plus a little bit more as well. So yeah, so we're planning to hopefully do a few more competitions as well a bit further down the line. Whether or not we might do some next week as well, don't know. So we're chatting to Clubit with that as well. So, but no, thank you so much, Clubit, for providing those. And yeah, keep leaving those comments down below.
Next week you can win the plant pot.
Yeah, next week is the plan.
And then the Star Wars pictures as well, which we've got.
Yeah, all of those.
Basically, by the end of the month, there won't be a single item left in here.
That radiator can go as well.
Shift all of my belongings. If you can't tell.
I'm actually getting rid of a set of drawers and a wardrobe. So if anybody, that's actually not a lie as well. I'm not doing any gaming tomorrow. Sadly, we're redecorating the bedroom. Anyway, guys, moving on to the next topic of live stream. We really need to crack on, actually. We're taking some time. The Witcher creator wants more money.
Oh, he can sod himself.
This is from Engadget.com by Rachel England. This is where I'm going to butcher his name as well. Andrzejewski?
Yep.
That's going to be close anyway. The author of the Witcher series of novels is pressing Polish game studio CD Projekt Red for more than $16 million in royalties because he reckons he was shortchanged during the licensing agreements made back in 1997. Licensing the agreements he apparently keenly agreed to at the time. The studio bought the rights for the story for an undisclosed sum, turning it into a series of games which went to be hugely successful. In an interview with Eurogamer last year, though Sapkowski said he regretted the decision because he didn't think the game would do as well as it did. He said, "I was stupid enough to sell them rights to the whole bunch," Sapkowski said at the time. "They offered me a percentage of their profits. I said no. There will be no profits at all. Give me all my money right now, the whole amount. It was stupid. I was stupid enough to leave everything in their hands because I didn't believe in their success. But who could foresee their success?"
No, that's it. That there should be the end of that. And how dare he take that to court? I'm so angry with this whole thing because you've just said it there. You just said exactly what he said, which is, I didn't think it was going to do well, so I didn't take the deal that they gave me. No, of course you didn't. That's why you didn't get a penny of it, and that's why you're not getting any of it. You're going to fail the court story or the court thing. I'm so mad at this. I read into it this morning and just went, I don't understand, because you were too much of an arrogant knob. You couldn't just take the fact that you've lost out on the money. You're going to try suing them. Good luck with it, because you're not going to win, and you'll piss away even more money on the court stuff. So good luck with it.
Richard, what's your thoughts on it?
Originally, because I knew that he didn't sell it for as much as it would have been worth now, basically. But as far as the contract law states, it's a no-brainer, yeah.
I've actually been doing a little bit more reading into it as well, and actually there is a Polish law which actually may go in his favour later on, that they can actually claim for more.
That's an obscure law.
It's really, really weird. It's literally a Polish law that we should point out, and I did read it literally before we went live, and I should have saved the link. I do apologize.
This is quite interesting, though, because if that is the case, then that means that there's going to be this entire area of law that this will just bring loads of these cases to the
only if it's in Poland. Say this. So it's only a Polish law. But so basically, he was offered a profit margin. So basically, whatever they earned within the game, that he would have earned from that. He turned that down and took a lump sum. Again, it's like a perfect example. Again, I was chatting to my girlfriend about it, and I said, "Listen, I'm thinking about putting this article for Clubit stream." And I said, "Oh," and she went, "Oh, what is it?" So I explained it to her, and she went, "What?" She went, "Well, my girlfriend quite a few years ago used to do artist pieces for fabrics and things like that. So she'd do a design, she'd sell it for a lump sum to a company, they'd turn it into fabric, and then they'd sell it, basically. And one of them, she did like hundreds and hundreds of them, and one of them actually did really, really well, and actually earned the company like thousands and thousands of pounds from. It just blew up. It sold all over the place, up and down the country. And she turned around and said, "I wasn't entitled to anything more. I sold it from the amount that I sold it to them for. I couldn't go back to him and say, well, hold on a minute, you sold that and I'd learned lots of money for it. I should get more for it. And she went, it doesn't work like that. That's not how life works. CD Projekt Red have done a fantastic job with an IP which really shouldn't have been successful. And they put their heart and soul into it and made it what it is now.
Well, hang on. It only became successful after the third game. The first two games weren't big hits.
Well, they weren't big hits, but
they weren't as groundbreaking as the third one. The third one became like a global phenomenon. The other two were kind of like shitty offline MMORPG.
First one definitely.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy those games, and they weren't heralded as being great either. But then when it got to the third one, that was this great open world masterpiece with great story and everything, you know. But I think I had another example of this where this happened. What was it? Oh no, I can't dither too long on thinking about it. But there was another example I had that was very, very similar to what you just said. Where that was it. It was a guy I met at university who made one of you know the song "What Do You Mean" by Justin Bieber that was famous, kind of thing in the background. That was made by a guy who I met, but he sold that loop to a website for a fixed price. That song that they used the sample of went on to make billions, and he's not entitled to a penny of that because that's not
in
how
the
it
end.
works.
If they hadn't have bought that, then that wouldn't have done what it did.
It's a difficult situation, isn't it? Because technically he's owed. You think he would be owed something from it, but
so basically going on this strange law over in Poland, he could end up being paid out. He might not get the full amount of what he's wanting, but it may potentially probably be settled out of court. I'm probably guessing. With an amount.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, and I don't think it'd be unreasonable to sort of suggest that CD Projekt Red give it as a gesture of goodwill.
Potentially, I just don't think it makes him look. I think he should have just kept quiet and contacted him. To be absolutely honest.
Makes him look
he didn't need to make a big deal out of it. The way he has done.
It makes him look vitriolic.
Yeah, and The Witcher is being turned into a Netflix series, and that is all his. That's
right. Okay,
so that's not tied to CD Projekt. So he's going to be getting
So he's not short of cash then.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be poor. And yes, he may be a fantastic writer and everything like that. But if you do sell an aspect of your rights to something, that you sold it, that was your decision.
And you turned down the deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's it's like when you sell an item on eBay. It's or next offer.
If they resell it,
I sold it to you for 280, but I wanted 300. Can I have 20 more quid? No, because I bought it for 280 quid.
That's probably the best sum up, actually.
That's how that works. So you go, no, sorry. Even if you contact eBay, they go, but you've given it to them already. But that's, again, it's this weird Polish law. So
I wish I'd have kept the article because which actually did mention it. I do apologise for that. But I'll definitely keep an eye on this. And if something does come from it and the news progresses from this, we'll definitely bring it up on a future episode because I think it's really something a bit interesting actually and a little bit different and a bit controversial as well. Always good to have on the show. Let us know down in the comments as well what you think. Do you think he's entitled to some more money, or do you think he should just go away quietly and work on the Netflix series with Netflix? Let us know down in the comments.
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill, yes, Superman playing Geralt. Should be interesting. Anyway, guys, on to our last topic of the live stream. Harry Potter game gets leaked. Now, I have searched high and freaking low to try and get a copy of this trailer, but Warner Brothers have literally shut this down. Okay, so I was like trying to find everything. I was trying to find just another trailer of it, but on YouTube, they've just copyrighted everything. Boom, 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 taking it down. Anyway, so this was kind of a last-minute topic that I threw on you guys, so apologies to you two on this, actually. I'm really, really sorry. I did get some notes. So, a Eurogamer article by... Once it loads... Come on. Sorry about that. Tom Phillips.
I'm determined to find this, so I'm Googling it.
Please do. Please do. If you do, can you send me a link?
I think there's mirrored ones, but there's not the actual...
I'm looking for mirrored ones.
Not the actual trailer anymore.
So, on Eurogamer, Tom Phillips, this was the original article. This morning, footage claiming to be an under-wraps Harry Potter project appeared online. The video looked professionally made, and now sources with the knowledge of the project have confirmed to Eurogamer that the project is indeed real and currently in development. The footage first appeared on Reddit, courtesy of poster Vape This Bro. who claimed he was showing the video as part of some market research. In his words, do you think a random internet stoner would have the skills and patience to create this video? I wouldn't know, but anything is possible. So did you guys get a chance to see this?
I glimpsed it, and I think I kind of saw it and went, oh, that's cool. I'll look at that later, without realizing they were going to take it all down. So I haven't actually absorbed this, but I think I remember thinking, that's a cool idea.
There was in the back of my mind, I was thinking it could be fake. I was like, oh, this could potentially be fake. And then it got about halfway through and went, this looks really good if it's fake. Jesus.
Yeah.
So, Richard, did you get a chance to see it?
I didn't see it in full. I saw a little clip of it. From what I've heard, though, it is definitely real. It's going to be Avalanche Studios, which I believe are the ones. As
of yet, sources are saying that it could potentially be Avalanche, if I remember.
Yeah, that's what I'd heard, because they were the ones.
Rocksteady, but Rocksteady then have said no, it's not us.
Right.
The current working title has been released by none other than BBC's Lizo Muzimba. Did any of you watch Newsround growing up with Lizo?
Yes, I did!
He's still doing journalism. And he's like a real journalist now. And he says, I'm being told that this is from a yet-to-be-announced RPG currently titled Harry Potter Magic Awakened, although other titles, including Magic Forever, are also in the mix. Other Potter games are also thought to be on the way.
So what I'd heard was it was an action RPG set around the 19th century. So basically,
1800s. Style Hogwarts student. Yeah, that's what I.
So they can get rid of anything to do with Harry Potter himself and everything. But then I think, why don't they just get rid of the name then? Because everyone, if it's going to be set in Hogwarts, everyone knows that Hogwarts is related to Harry Potter, so just call it Hogwarts.
I think it's more of a branding thing, because if you call purely as a marketing situation,
I agree
Harry
with
Potter,
both sides. That's annoying, because I see the idea of going, hello, it's a Harry Potter game, and also notice that the total absence of Harry Potter. It's not called Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, is it?
No, I don't think it is.
It's just the Wizarding World.
Yeah, it's just Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
I think it's probably a situation of just so then they could end up potentially dropping that part of the name. They may. It's like, obviously, like I said, they said that that's the working title.
It's a working title, yeah.
But I think mainly they'll keep the Harry Potter just for the pure sales, because there'll be some, like, us as gamers, we're obviously in with the news and everything like that. We know, for example, this is set in Harry Potter's world. Your casual gamer who may not see this piece of news, they may not even see the trailers release, but they see it up on the shelf in the shop, they'll just say, oh, it's like the Wizarding World. They'll be like, all right, but if they see Harry Potter, then they'll go, oh, it's a Harry Potter game. They know instantly what it is.
Shelf presence is very strong if you've got Harry Potter written on it, and it's not a crap movie tie-in game or shitty VR game
or the Quidditch World Cup game.
What a game!
I didn't mind that. I quite liked it.
No.
That and pod racing. Great games, great obscure spin-off games.
Pod racing was good.
So basically, the footage showed off customization of characters, so you could change what they wear, what they looked, and everything like that, which looked good. Some of the combat looked a little bit brutal, which made me think at first that maybe it was fake, because at one point,
brutal?
Well, they go up to like this door, and then I'm trying to remember now because at least I watched it once. He goes up the door, and he blasts the door open, and then there's like an explosion from the inside, and a sword flings out and spears a goblin and pins him against the wall.
That seems a bit gratuitous.
And I was a bit like, that... I was like, anything else looked fine in the trailer. Just that bit, I was a bit like, that just seems a bit too much for a Harry Potter game.
I kind of like that idea.
I liked it.
I would love it. I'd love it.
I really liked it. I was thinking...
That's kind of why I like these new Harry Potter movies, is because do you know what the problem with Harry Potter is that kids are shit at acting. And there's a lot of kids in the Harry Potter world because they're all children. And so none of it's well acted. You've got this great all-star cast of adults who really managed to do a good job with their roles. But everyone else is appalling. And so when you get to take it away from irritating school children to serious criminals, black market murderers, etc. That's cool. That's a cooler, grittier application of the magical world, and I think seeing it in game form would be magnificent.
Like I say, like Large Lad Charles says on Twitch, a Harry Potter RPG sounds great. To be honest, I'd love to be able to customize my own character and have a skill tree for charms, transfiguration, and whatnot. That all cover different roles like tank, damage, support, control. Sounds dope as heck. Yeah.
Is it an MMO?
I don't think it's an MMO.
I'd play it if
I
it
think
was...
it's just a. When I saw it, it kind of reminded me of an RPG similar to like Knights of the Old Republic sort of style, so a single player like action adventure.
Interesting.
That sort of appealed to me.
You know what? I'd play it. I'd play it. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to the ever been to the studio tour, but when I went with a previous girlfriend, I didn't realize how much I loved it until I got there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's the Great Hall!
When the door's up and you're like, oh, I'm a wizard!
Yeah, exactly. That's where Harry Potter sat! And like, you're suddenly like, fanboy.
Yeah, I was like 11 years old again. I was like, no,
yeah,
I'm right there with you on that.
Really, really good.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely looking forward to it. As I can see down the chat, a lot of people are saying exactly the same thing. I think it's good that they are stepping away, like you said, Richard, away from the Harry Potter aspect of it and kind of keep away from that stigma of what we know to expect and far enough away from those stories that they can tell something new and maybe get a little bit lore and a little bit history to like Hogwarts and things like that.
Yeah, I think the world's been painted so well in the books and the films. There's so much more you can still do with it. And going back in time to a time where none of the characters have ever been seen before does make it sound much more appealing.
To make it nerdy, but I'm just thinking about the way you could expand beyond like Britain, and you could go to like Romania or all the dragons.
And the other schools as well, and
the
their
other
culture
schools
and
like Beaubaton in France, or the one where Victor Crumb's from. I forget.
The Russian one.
Yes.
Bulgarian. It could have been. Oh, no. No.
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria.
Yes, that's it.
Bulgaria. So
I was nearly there.
I went Russia. I was like, go that way. But you know, I think like I said, it expands the universe a little bit further. And I got to admit, that's what I did like about the Fantastical
Durmstrang. Sorry. Sorry.
That's what I liked about the Fantastical Beasts and Where to Find Them, because it was set in America. And they had different names for Muggles, which I can't remember what they called them now. But they had different names for them, and it just showed a different culture. And I think that's great. And I think that's really cool. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this game. And the other thing is, well, with this footage, it looked really polished, the trailer. Like, it actually looked like this is ready to be put out fairly soon. Which made me think, when are we going to see this be announced?
I don't know. Games can be deceptive like that. Remember, we got a what looked like gameplay for Star Wars 1313 or 3131, whatever it was, and that never materialized. So until we get official
that still brings up a bad point.
I'm like, yeah, dude, get that game. I still have restless nights wondering if it'll come back
one day.
So, Daddy, oh.
It's here. Yay!
Hello.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with this one. I was just thinking, like, when is it going to be shown? And my money's on E3 next year.
Yeah, maybe.
It looked really.
All the big franchises will be done, so that would be a really good time to launch it or to announce it. Everything else will be done. Which
makes me then also think that we could be looking maybe at a next gen game. I don't think it'll be a current gen one.
Or tail end, or the transitional game that has the port on the previous and new gens. It's a good point. Didn't think about that, because I guess we're getting to the point now where console gens are getting more and more interesting as well. Because where does the line get blurred between like the PS4 Pro and a next gen console, for instance?
To be honest, it's like I just kind of looked at the PlayStation 4 as just still a PlayStation 4. It's just it's more like an elite version. If you
it's kind of what the PS4 should have been in a way.
Basically, this is what we want it to be, but we couldn't get it back then. So this is, if you're an elite gamer who really, really hardcore into gaming, you love your PlayStation, this is for you. If you're a bit like, I'm a casual gamer, then your traditional PlayStation 4 is for you. So I think when the next one comes out, I just still consider PS4 Pro as a PS4, not a sort of bridge. In my mind, that's how I think about it anyway. Yeah, I agree. Actually, just like an extra little quick topic. When's your predictions for, do you think, for the next gen consoles to maybe be released? Just prediction. I'm literally throwing it out there so you guys
2020.
I got 2020 as well.
It'd be a good year to like drop new stuff. It's just a very iconic sounding year, and I imagine people capitalizing on that with some nomenclature as well. So
Xbox 2020.
Done it. And on that,
two in it, because the last one was the Xbox One. The Xbox 2020. We're on a wavelength, guys. We've
Xbox
Microsoft. You can pay us later.
Yeah, pay us later. We'll take royalties though. We won't do a one-off payment. Like, we'll just...
Oh yeah.
Anyway, guys, that is the end of our topics. That was quite a lot of things to talk about during this live stream, actually.
Yeah, we had a discussion one.
Yeah, good. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Ed, you're always a star. I've missed you this last couple of months, man. Like, we haven't even spoken.
I missed you as well, Roger.
Probably, like, we've been obviously we've all been messaging each other, but none of us have actually spoken to each other face to face.
No, not via video for some time. So these are kind of, well, they'll be less rare now because they're every week on Wednesdays from 8 o'clock / 7:30 if there's a pre-show that we don't mess up.
Yeah, and we're trying to get technical things sorted.
Sure.
Start the pre-show at 7.
It might have started at 6 with me with my internet. I'd be like, come on.
We may not be there, but you guys turn up and we'll see what happens.
So like I said, we've been Greenlight, so we are back every Wednesday at 8 PM for the full show. We do a pre-show just before that, but that will be every week now going forward. Richard, thank you so much for joining me, bud. We'll have you back in a couple of weeks' time. Where can we check out some of your written content then?
Yep, so I am on Twitter at Dobbo1912, which is DOBO1912. Anything that I write will get posted up on there. Today I put the raised review on there that I was on about earlier, and hopefully by the end of this week, early next week, there'll be the Fist of the North Star review up there as well.
Good man. Good man. So check him out on Twitter, Dobbo1912, Dobbo1912. And you can check Ed at GameHog Games. What have you got coming up gameplay, streaming-wise, Ed?
Well, so currently I've been quite busy at the moment, so streams and content have been on a dip. However, I've got a new video coming this week, the start of a brand new series called Do You Remember? The first episode should be coming out at some point in the coming days. I'm hoping to get loads of it done tomorrow because I have a free day. So look forward to that coming soon. Also, we have MCM Comic-Con coming up, and I'm doing a 24-hour stream to raise money for that. So that's going to be...
good man. Well, give us a shout. Send us links over, and we'll get those tweeted out, man.
Good stuff. Thanks very much.
You can check me out at The Geekkeeper. Again, on my channel, AlwaysGamesTV, it's been fairly quiet. But the things are brewing. I've got some ideas, and... hopefully in the coming weeks, maybe months, they'll all come to fruition, and hopefully I'll be able to talk a little bit more about them as time go on. But like I say, you can follow me at The Geekkeeper. Don't forget to follow Clubit on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Mixer, everywhere. And don't forget, we're also going to be announcing our winner of the competition of the prizes here behind me in the post show. We're going to be putting the lights down just for 5 minutes. We can all grab a drink or nip to the loo if we need it, and we will be back. So if you're watching live, we've got the post show coming up where we're going to chat about a couple of other little things that which we can't really fit into the main show. But if you're listening on our podcast or on the edited version on YouTube, come and join us on our live stream because you're missing some of the extra goodies on the live stream, plus some of the things that go wrong. Anyway, guys, we will see you back in 5 minutes. Bye! Bye, Z!